So let me officially open the meeting. Welcome everybody who's here in person and with us online. I'm Gail Gramarosa. I am a Belchertown resident, and I'm serving as the chair of the Belchertown Opioid Settlement Funds Advisory Committee. So again, welcome to all of you for joining us. Just a reminder, BCTV, our local community access TV, is broadcasting as well as recording this so that it can be broadcast at a later date, along with the recording that we're making through the GoToMeeting. So welcome everybody. Just so that everybody knows, we have some guests and new folks here. I wanted to give the committee members the opportunity to introduce themselves and let people know each of us kind of represents different parts of the community. I'm the community volunteer, for example, one of the seats on the committee. So let me start with Sergeant Neal back there, and then we'll just let everybody know who's here with us.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Sergeant Neal Lozier of the Belchertown Police Department. I represent law enforcement on this, and I apologize for sitting way in the back, but we are very short today as far as staffing, so if a call comes in, I may have to go.
Great. Thank you, Neil. We appreciate it.
Hi, good morning. I'm Chris Hogue. I'm the Program Director of Drug-Free Communities and co-chair of BOAT.
Hi, I'm Kim Dewey. I'm a pediatrician in town, and I am the BOAT representative.
Great. I introduced myself already.
I'm Jill Rossi. I am the town accountant, so I'm a municipal government employee as well as serving on the board of directors for Honest Beginnings, which is a nonprofit sober home in Belchertown.
Great. Thanks. Folks online, anybody else want to say more about who they are, introduce themselves, give people a chance to do that? Everybody's good?
I'll just, Taylor McAndrew with Northampton's Department of Health and Human Services, and just sharing information I have relevant to opioid settlement funds.
Great. All right. Like I said, folks online, keep my eye open. Feel free if you have questions or you want to clarify anything, and I'll keep facilitating the conversation with those of us where we're physically here at Town Hall. Should also mention too that the Quaboag Hills Substance Use Alliance has a seat on this committee, as well as the Board of Health. And at the moment we're still working on the Board of Health seat, but Quaboag Hills Alliance is represented by Emily Kirby as well. So that's kind of the makeup of the committee. Just looking at our agenda for today, I think we're really looking to see where things are at with updates. At previous meetings, we had some great conversation with Honest Beginnings. We've had some conversation about mobile services with the Quabbin Health District and the Quaboag Hills Substance Use Alliance. So I want to kind of get a read on where we're at with all of those things, that conversations that have happened since the last meeting. And then Monday is not a typical day, like I said, that we have been meeting, but I want to see if we can nail down a regular day and time for us to keep meeting. Maybe check in on where we are with the town website. And I still acknowledge that we're behind on minutes, but we will get to those for sure. So let me just open it up to conversation for folks who are here and any updates from folks online. How about if we start with where we're at with Honest Beginnings?
I know they're working on their grant request.
Perfect.
And I'm expecting, I'm a little surprised they're not running through the door right now, but
proposal in hand,
could
right?
happen.
I know.
But I know that it's imminent.
Okay, good. Excellent. Good. Thank you for helping them. And again, for folks who might be newer to us, when the committee first came together, I wanted to acknowledge, by the way, that it's just about a year ago that we had our very first meeting. It was January. So this committee's been at it for just about a year. But we tried to put together a relatively simple, hopefully straightforward application process where external organizations or internal to town government as well, like the schools and others, could at least put a request together that we then bring to the select board for their approval. Great. Yeah, anything else on Honest Beginnings? Definitely, we talked about the fees, and we'll see if they put any other costs together, or if they put more than one proposal together. We're good on that. Okay, great, excellent. Any other thoughts on Honest Beginnings? No? Okay. Oh, go ahead.
I have no idea on that too.
Sure, go for it.
I don't know how far we want to push that, as one of our, major, contributions, but I also thought you drive by the oil trucks right now, and it's like, you can buy oil during the summer cheaper, and if we did a stipend like that,
Oh.
that's just another idea.
To help with some of their fuel costs
Yeah, just set
for
them
their
on the line in the
residences,
summer,
yeah,
say,
yeah.
Because it's usually cheaper to buy it then, and that way it's gonna benefit all I know we're talking about maybe a kitchen for them, but, for the other people that have been there for a while, that really makes a difference during the, holiday times to have a little bit extra money in your pocket.
Right,
Just something
yeah,
to throw out.
something
Do
to
the,
think,
do you know,
go
do
ahead.
the residents, pay for, is that part of their, rent?
The
their
fees
rent?
that they
Does
pay?
that cover
It
all
covers the utilities.
the utilities? Okay.
Yeah,
So they would get a break on it, potentially?
I don't know. We'd have to talk through how that would work. But
Yeah.
that, it's all inclusive, I guess, is
Okay.
Right.
the bottom line on that.
yeah, I think it's worth taking a look at, for sure. And, for me personally, I know if we can, we try to buy fuel, fuel oil in particular in advance, lock in the price, and that may help them with their overall budgeting as well,
Which
you
is,
know. So that,
those things get to be,
right,
That way you don't have
there's
to
a
worry
lot of
about buying
pressure.
toilet paper or the
Right.
absolute necessities, when you
Yeah.
gotta worry about
Right.
choosing between heating the place and versus.
right, exactly, right. And with, potential fluctuations in price. All right, I'm willing to, learn more about that, see if that works for them, if that becomes part of a proposal or a separate proposal, like you said, Neil. We were also talking about, they are, they've got the kind of kitchen and laundry equipment and all of that sort of stuff that they have, at their facility, that we're also open to investing in that, so that they can have, energy efficient, and, those appliances, major appliances, I assume, get a lot of use at their
yes.
facility. So
yes.
And Jill,
their
do you know,
housing.
are they gonna submit the 2 applications, one for that?
I don't know for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
We've talked a whole bunch, but I don't know what the
Okay.
final decision was.
Okay.
I'm expecting that it will be more than one.
More than
Okay.
one? Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
No, because I think we talked about
Right,
it being,
right.
one was sort
Right.
of the rental assistance,
Yeah.
and the other one was
Could
the
be
grounds and
other
immediate
stuff,
needs
right,
of,
yeah,
like
right.
a one-time cost kind of
Right,
thing.
exactly, right, even some renovation of the physical, right,
Yeah.
the house, right, exactly. Great, sounds good. All right, so more to come, we'll be in touch with them. Again, part of our goal is to get the money out, is in a timely way, but we also want them to have time to, be thoughtful about their application and how they wanna do that, as they look at what their costs are and what would be most helpful to them. Great. Another item that we have talked about in the past, transportation to and from the recovery center in Ware, for local residents, and possibly doing that in partnership with the Quaboag Connector, the, van service that, is based out of Ware with the Town of Ware and the Community Development Corporation there. I have not had a chance to connect up with Jen Healy. We've been playing a little bit of email and phone tag. I will be, early next month, I'm gonna be doing something else in my sort of semi-retirement that will bring me in contact with the recovery center. So I wanna talk with them as well, just to get a sense of, what might work for them. They are now they're continuing to expand what they offer there and how much they offer. Julie Lutz is now the director there. So maybe more to come
Gail
on
too.
that as well.
With them also, I've been in touch with them to
Okay.
do some other things around, like to be more inclusive of Belchertown.
Okay.
So we are talking with them also, like maybe you and I can go together,
Okay.
so it's not
Oh,
like,
good idea. Okay.
you know,
Yep.
all over the place, because
Yep,
we
yep.
I'm already have those conversations starting about the van. And, you know, our first thing that we had talked about is having, the van available, like getting it out to like the Honest Beginnings and stuff,
Right,
and having
okay.
it available, like, for example, you know, this is something we talked about, Uptown for me. Don't even start. Alright, I lived on Woodhaven,
I'm
Uptown, downtown. So up here, have everybody meet up on the common, and then they can take the van over for like the pancake breakfast Friday at
Right.
the recovery center, and then they stay for a recovery meeting, and then they
meeting.
get transported back here. And that's something we've talked about, expanding upon that as well with the
Let's
connector.
do that, right, yeah, that's a good idea. And thank you for reminding me too, that the Recovery Center has its own van that maybe we could support as well, right? They have some of their own
I don't know
vans.
if it's the
The
connector.
guiding rides
Oh,
thing?
yeah, yeah,
They
yeah,
still have
yeah.
that?
Yep, so
Anyway,
that,
so.
yep,
good.
and that, and also,
idea.
we are also collaborating with them on developing, a movie night, and I can talk to you about this
Ooh,
after.
okay. Yep.
It's called Recovery City, and it was a woman out of Worcester that did a documentary documenting following three women in the recovery process. And we talked about having that movie being shown on a Friday night, because they do it from 4 to 6 every Friday, and doing that, and then having a discussion after,
Oh, wow.
facilitate a
Okay.
discussion after, and then have an all recovery meeting. Like, so
So
we're
we
already,
would help
we're already,
get people there.
yeah, so we're already
okay.
kind of in that collaboration.
Good.
So if you and I can
Yes, let's
get
do that
together
then.
and do it
Let's- yeah.
all together, that would
That would
make more sense.
Make more sense. In fact, it might be an advantage that I've not been able to
Absolutely.
connect up with Jen so that we could all have a conversation together.
right,
Okay,
right.
that makes sense. Good. All right, good. I'm gonna make a note to do that.
So I'm just to let you know, sorry everybody, but we are at CATCA next week, so
Oh,
we
okay.
are not going to be around.
Okay,
But after that,
after that. All right, cool. Great. All right, that sounds good. So more conversation with the Recovery Center for events, activities, potentially with the Quaboag Connector as well as a transportation source, as well as, you know, what other options are out there. Great. Because no matter who's transporting people, there's costs involved, so that'd be great to do that. Sounds good. All right, Chris, good. I'll follow up, and then maybe we can find a time that
Okay.
we could
yeah,
talk
that'd be
to the
that'd
Recovery
be
Center
awesome.
folks too. Great. Excellent. Anything else on transportation? That was another thing we were looking at, just in general, no? Anything
not
from
at the
anybody
moment.
online? Any questions on any of those two activities? No? Okay. All right. Another project that we have heard that there's conversation going on about, which we think is great, is a mobile harm reduction van that may involve the Quabbin Health District. Remember, that's Belchertown, Ware, and Pelham, all working together under the Quabbin Health District for public health services. And Kirsten, the public health nurse, is very interested in thinking about some mobile harm reduction. And then in partnership potentially with the Quaboag Hill Substance Use Alliance, a wider regional group in the area. I know I haven't had too many updates. Has anybody heard anything? I know Emily and maybe Kirsten were going to talk to each other, neither of whom is here today. Maybe we can just follow up and find
know,
out. Yep.
I can. It's like
Oh,
not
good.
really an update, but related because I know that they had submitted that as a proposal to the Mosaic, the Rise.
Oh,
Mosaic
right.
Magic
Yes,
Grant.
yes.
I just talked to Liz is a Tapestry, because they had also done a proposal, and we have not heard back yet. So I don't think, so I guess it would be safe to assume that the announcements for that funding have not been finalized.
Okay.
It was supposed to be in January, because I think February 1st was supposed to be like starting the work, so.
Yep.
No, yeah, I'm guessing that Emily probably has not heard back either, but
Okay.
hopefully will in the remaining days.
Great. That's a good reminder too. Thank you for reminding me, Taylor. Right, that they were also looking for other sources of funding in addition to potential opioids. So it'll be helpful for them to know if they do get the RISE grant, do they get all of what they asked for, all of that.
Right, this was
And
the
then,
match.
yeah, and then to be able to think about what's the role of potential opioid funds. And I have to imagine, I haven't double checked this, but I'm guessing that with the Quabbin Health District, my guess is and Substance Use Alliance, they may be in conversation with the town of Ware as well. So it may be a nice collaboration, partnership, and hopefully they'll find out soon about that RISE grant. I know when they give you a time that you're gonna learn about it, and then the time comes and goes, you're like, whoa, we need to find out about that. We wanna hear, so, and that then maybe will help shape their proposal to come to us. Great. Any other, so those were just some of the projects we've talked about at previous meetings that are kind of, we're thinking about. Some of the stuff has started to move forward. People are, applying for other funding like the van project. Any other ideas, anything that we haven't talked about yet? I'm sort of in the back of my mind thinking that we're hoping to get to the select board with whatever recommendations we have before the end of this fiscal year. So we're already into January. With the Honest Beginnings, I want to get there maybe even sooner. But just thinking about anything else that has come up that people have heard about that they want us to explore as a possible thing to be funded as well.
So the mill towns, which is Ludlow, Palmer, Warren, and West Brookfield, have a social worker.
On their staff.
Yes.
Cool, okay.
In my mind, I was thinking about a concierge type of thing where, they know the resources and where to connect people. It looks like they are already doing that, and it's they help with food, health insurance, housing, fuel, utility assistance, hoarding, substance use, mental health, transportation, employment, legal resources, support groups, Section 35 paperwork, harm reduction, and family and children resources.
Wow.
A dream. Even whether that would be through Quabbin Health District, that we create this position.
Right.
Being, for the 3 communities involved in Quabbin Health District, or whatever that might look like. I think that having one place to
One person and a place
one
who can.
one person,
yeah,
one place to
right.
get the information from, because it's difficult. It's difficult to find all of the information that you need, and if there's a crisis in your family, it's triply difficult. Because all of a sudden your brain cells are dead. It's all gone.
Sure.
So this is, for me, this is a thing that it has been in the back of my mind since, the start of the nest. That was kind of the dream piece for that. And Deb Hall served as taking care of a lot of those things over the few years that we were open. That's something that I think bears looking into. And I think it would be well worth the money, whatever the money is, because it would be so helpful.
Yeah.
Even even people out there, if people don't know about this, about the social worker itself, or people don't know who to ask, and they ask somebody like one of us or something, we can direct them. I
Right,
mean,
right,
it's somewhere
right,
to direct
right.
people, it's that
Actually,
they're gonna get the help that they need.
Yep.
How does that work where they serve all those different communities?
that's
Like,
a good
who pays
question.
them?
Are
Are they paid by the town?
This is,
So I keep,
go ahead.
it's the public health excellence.
Oh, right, is that what they're using?
Basically, it's the shared services
Okay.
grant that's paying
Okay.
for that position. And the individual, it's Ashley Jennedy, who
Yeah,
is,
Ashley,
like
yeah.
Chris, you may know, or Gail, she was at the Hamden Sheriff's Office
Yes,
for a while.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Their
Mhm.
first overdose.
Taylor, is that the one with Sergeant Burns from Palmer goes around with occasionally?
No, that is slightly different. That's the like their wellness thing, but kind of a similar idea of, you know, if there was a social worker, they could be at these drop-ins. East as another model as well, slightly different, but East Hampton is a
East
social
Hampton?
worker
Okay.
under their health department, and I think that might have been a city position, like a permanent city position. But Liz is really fabulous and does a lot of this. But to this point, Jill, I feel like we talked about this at the when there was the open. What did we call it?
Oh, we're at the listening, yeah, the listening session.
Yeah, the
You're
listening
right,
session.
you're right.
Yeah, this was like a
Yeah.
really popular idea.
Yep,
Yeah, I
You're
have
right.
my notes from that with me
Right.
today,
Mhm.
because I'm feeling like, okay, let's get stuff on the books so that we can start moving, move in additional directions.
right. So do folks think, I'll rely on those of you who know, I know the name definitely. So would it make sense to have Ashley attend a future meeting of this group so she could walk us through, like, how do they do it? How do they pay for it? There are multiple towns now as well, and if we were looking at a model that might involve our health departments, we would be in that same sort of multiple town kind of thing. How does it work? What kinds of things are, what are the community members looking for, and then how do those social workers, do that? And then, Taylor, you said East Hampton also has a social worker that's based in their health department, okay.
Mhm.
Do we want to hear from both communities? Would that be helpful? Yeah, maybe we
Yeah.
could get both somebody from,
Liz has been in her role for probably at least 2, maybe close to 3. So
yeah,
Liz, I think, has a lot of experience of probably talking about like how she got started.
okay,
But Ashley's
great.
position is interesting because it is it's multi-town,
Right.
which would probably be more relevant to
right,
working with Quaboag Health. And
yep. Excellent. Other thoughts on that model? I agree with you. It did come up at the listening session. I have seen it where other communities, when we're on statewide, kinds of webinars or whatever, in other ways where communities sometimes have pooled their money, even if they're not necessarily part of an official, multi-town health department or whatever, that they have used their opioid money to support that kind of thing. I think it would be really helpful. And then you've got, and that menu of all kinds of things that this person would know about. I think it would be extraordinarily helpful. I could envision.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
As long as we can just figure out how.
How to
How
do
does
it.
that
Yep,
work?
how does it
look
work?
like?
Right. The
But I think it's
logistics,
a
the
great idea to have
mechanics of
somebody
it.
that does that,
Okay.
for sure.
Taylor, can you tell me Liz's last name in East Hampton? What's Liz's last name?
It's either Plouffe or Pluff. I
Okay.
can't remember the pronunciation, but it's
Gotcha.
Plouffe, I think.
Yep, got it. Liz Pluff. And then Ashley would be the person for the Milltowns with Palmer, Ludlow, Warren, and West Brookfield collaborating. And, those are some, be really interesting with them being neighboring towns too, Palmer, Ludlow. Great.
Taylor, do you know which office or agency they're assigned to in those positions?
Neil, it's just a little bit harder to hear you. Sorry.
Do you know what office they're assigned out of, say from like East Hampton, and then from like where do they actually call it home base.
What
Wait.
off?
What office are they out of?
Liz is out of the health department.
She's in the health department, and then
And I
Ash,
believe Ashley is technically the Ludlow Health Department. I
Okay.
think
Ludlow,
is like
okay.
the lead,
Lead.
for, just like Northampton is the lead for our shared services, I believe.
Gotcha.
Kathy just had a meeting, I think, with Ashley.
okay. Great.
Yep.
Excellent, yeah. I do remember Ashley when she was with Sheriff. All right, so it sounds like, and this is kind of relevant, it'll be relevant when we get to our, talking about our next meeting day and time and all of that. I'm happy to reach out to both Ashley and Liz and invite them if we think we could do that, maybe each of them, you know, if they have a half hour or so to talk about, and any information that they might be able to send us in advance. Like you said, you've got there, Jill, sort of the, you know, all of the information about what they're doing.
Yeah, that would be great.
Let's have both of them come in, give us an idea of how they do it and pay for it and all of that. And then what might that mean for us to bring a proposal to our select board, potentially with the Quabbin Health District, to say, look, we want to create this position. Doesn't exist right now, right? There's no social worker. Neil, do you guys have social workers at the police department at the
Yeah.
moment?
We have domestic violence.
You have domestic
And we
violence,
also
okay.
have, clinicians.
Okay, you have clinicians as well, great. Is there anywhere else in town where there's a social worker employed? Does the school district have a social worker?
Fran Frederick, I think.
Okay, yeah.
I have
I mean,
no
it
idea.
is, you know, it's,
I mean,
it's-
they've been reaching out to me for resources.
Okay.
Like,
right,
recently. So, right now, I will tell you guys this because of the webpage that we're doing. Aline is putting together a comprehensive list for us,
for resources.
and she's going to break it down by what type they
Nice.
are. And as soon as we're done with that, I'm going to submit it to you guys, us, to put on our website. We'll also
Perfect.
put it on Boat, but I have those to give out also to the schools.
Excellent,
So,
excellent.
you know, that'll be comprehensive.
That'll be great.
Hopefully
That
by
would
the
be
time, like mid-February.
Super, yeah. I could see where that would be super, you know, helpful for this kind of social worker, as well as having that person who can help you navigate, you know, just knowing that there could be somebody there to talk to, resources, network, amongst different resources. Cool. All right, so that's our plan going forward. Thank you, Jill, for bringing that to our attention. It has come up before, and that could be a great investment of our monies,
Can you give us
town's
a copy
monies.
of that?
Yeah, do you
I
want
was gonna send it all to you.
Yeah.
send
that'd
it
be
all
great.
out? Okay,
Yeah,
great. I'll hand it
email
around
you.
now
Thank
if folks want to take a quick look, but yeah, that's an impressive list of things that they can handle. Great.
Well, and if we want to go back to that whole thought, that whole idea about a fund that is administered
Yes.
for sudden death of
Yeah.
somebody from opiate overdose, somebody like this may be
Right.
the person who could be the resource
Good point.
that could get the you know, they're going to know
Right.
the family, they're going to be
Right.
working
Right.
with the family. We're
Yeah.
not just, you know, somebody, the select board isn't fielding applications from a family,
Right.
you know, this,
Right.
it would come
That-
from
that-
Right.
somebody
Should be
like
the
this.
pipeline
Yeah.
to that. That's a really good
Right.
thought
Yeah.
too, Kim, I agree. That person could just do that, you know,
I
the
think they're gonna
eyes
have
and
their finger on the
ears,
pulse,
right, for
right, of the
everything.
town,
Right,
you know,
exactly.
of people who are in need of help or in distress
Yep.
or whatever.
Exactly. That is a really good point. And that, you know, and then that anchors that idea of some kind of fund that people could tap into with a staff person, with a job description,
Right.
you know, within the mechanics of town government, which is, yeah, good point. All right, so we have a plan going forward. With any luck, if both Liz and Ashley are unable to come to, as we get ready to set our next meeting date, if they come in sequence as opposed to both at the same time, we'll do our best to get them to come talk to us and learn more about both of their programs and how they do it. And good for them. It's, you know, years ago, if you had talked about like a social worker connected to a health department, a lot of health departments would have said, what? We're not in that business. Let the
Right.
social workers do that.
Yeah.
But it makes so much sense to do that. I like the collaboration we've learned since then. All right, any other new ideas? Any other things to explore between now and our next meeting? I think we've got a good menu of things that
Yeah, I
we're
think
looking at.
that's
Something new.
a nice little round.
There we go. And just to say, and I'll reach out to Tom as well. Chris, I'm assuming that the school district is gonna want to reapply for
Well,
those funds
you know-
for you and Aileen, right?
I know, well, for Aline and I, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, 100%, but also that depends upon our funding.
Right. For,
The notice of funding's supposed to be coming out soon, but, we don't know.
right.
So yes, we are that is
Okay,
definitely
good.
there. And then with the schools, I thought that Tom had said they were gonna look for alternative funding for this year.
Okay.
So I guess I'll reach out to
All right,
Tom.
do you wanna reach
Yeah,
out to him?
I'll be that point person.
Okay, great.
Great.
All right.
If he doesn't need to look to us for renewal of that after-school program, great. If they've got alternative funding, I guess I would leave open the option if they even explore and apply for and maybe don't get other funding, that they could certainly think about coming back and making a second request.
So
for-
I think, I'll have to have him have a date for that probably.
Okay,
It'll probably be by May, let us
Okay.
know by
Mhm.
like
Yep.
April or May, because then they're gonna have to reapply for it and
To
get it
start
done
with
before
it,
the,
right.
before the school's over.
before school is over, right, and then as they
I'll reach out.
started, their program started in September, right? They applied
Yes.
for it, select
Yeah.
board said,
Right.
go for it, we approve it in July, and then they started in September.
Again,
so,
yeah.
Great.
We're
Are
gonna
they-
have like a review on that, right? Like,
Yeah, that's another, piece that I wanna bring in front of the select board as we think about when, to just give them an update. And I guess I would say that maybe could be, again, both an update, here's what we did with the money that you already gave us. We had, about 1 year's worth of funding. Here's what we did with it for both the drug-free communities expansion as well as the after-school program. And then at that time, that could be a good time to say, oh, and by the way, we're gonna ask for another round of money. And I guess, Chris, I would like to keep sort of in the back of our minds, God forbid, but if that, you don't get funded immediately for your next 5 years of
Gap year.
drug-free money, if you have that gap year, to me, the opioid settlement money is a perfect way to
Yes.
cover it until you can apply again.
That
you know?
discussion has already happened.
Good, okay.
A while back, with our town administrator,
Good,
about that possibility, because we don't know.
you don't know.
And,
You can write a perfect
you know,
proposal and.
That's
yeah.
and we wanna make sure that there's actually going to be a drug-free communities
Right.
grant available,
Exactly.
which I'm hopeful. I do know other like I did meet somebody on Saturday at a conference that, is completely covered by the opioid
By their
fund.
opioid funds, yeah, yeah.
So, there's different models out there
Okay.
and stuff like that, but
Just,
Go
I
ahead, Taylor.
don't know all of the details, but South Hadley had some trouble with the Attorney General's office.
Really?
Had to go back and like rework a job. Chris, Lisa from Spiffy, I think, might have more information than I do, but it wasn't as I don't know, simple or straightforward. It seemed like as one might think. So I don't know
Oh,
the
interesting.
inner workings of that, but yeah.
I'll reach out to South Hadley
Yeah,
and find
reach
out about it.
find out.
Mhm.
Do I remember right, Taylor? They sought opioid funds because they had gone through all 10 years, right, of their drug-free
Yeah.
communities money. So then to keep their coalition and prevention programs going, they went, which makes total sense. And obviously even, all over the country, that's what folks are being encouraged to do, to think about those dollars if you've already gone through all of what you can get for drug-free. But that's interesting. good to know, good heads up.
Chris, when you're saying that JBish is looking at alternative
They
funding.
they said that in
In
their
their
proposal.
original
Right, but so they were
application,
gonna
right.
look for, ways to sustain it at their own level.
Yes.
But you're not talking about, like, they're gonna go to a different grant to try and find, right?
I don't know what they're doing.
I know
I
what
mean,
they're
they
doing.
just said that they're
Okay.
going to look at other avenues to get funding for
Yeah.
that. So I don't know what those other avenues
Okay.
are.
All right.
So yeah, if you can check in with Tom, that'd be good, then we'll, yeah. It's a really good question, cause
Yeah.
it was definitely part of their,
I mean,
their
my
original
understanding,
application.
I thought I remember them saying sort of they were gonna try to, raise funds in other
Right,
ways
right.
so that they could sort of be self-sustaining, not necessarily need this every
Need
year.
this every
But
year,
it
right.
kind of seems like if we have this money to use, and like rather than going to a completely different organization to, just seek funds if they haven't
Right.
obtained them yet,
Right.
that sort of seems silly to me.
Right.
We have it,
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
and we
Or-
knew that this is potentially a multi-year
Right.
program for
Right.
them, and maybe
Exactly.
this year instead of, I don't remember what we did, $5,000, it would be $2,500 because they've got some
Right,
money,
some
and
other-
every year
right,
it would be
right.
less. I don't know.
Right, yeah, it's a good point to find out. I do remember, their application, part of what I think we saw as a strength was the hope that they would be able to sustain it, because
Right.
in the past, they had it, it went away, they got money, and the idea was to keep it going. But you're right, if they've identified other funding, then maybe their request to this committee and then ultimately to the select board might be different, dollar amount wise. Whereas depending upon, if you all look at a request for what is currently being funded, and then you find you need more, then the Drug-Free Communities comes back to this group and says, now things have changed and we wanna take a look at, where we're at. Do you remember, Jill, too, we're still sort of in the ballpark of about 300,000 in the pot, so to speak, in the bank account, so, thinking about some of the projects we've already talked about, and then, looking at the social worker, position, and then looking at the current 2 grantees, get an update from them. I agree, Neil, I think the select board wants to hear too, sort of, okay, what happened with the, how, we hope you, did well with the funds that we gave you, and we'll go from there. Okay, so that sounds like a fair amount of things potentially on the menu, further exploration, learn more about the social worker thing and go from there. And Honest Beginnings and others hopefully will come forward with some more ideas. Great. All right, how about talking about our committee meeting day and time for this new calendar year? I'm gonna grab my phone here so I can take a look. I think we started out with Thursdays and then we just sort of, kept doing Thursdays, but, I'm open, so let's figure out what makes sense for, maybe the next couple of meetings, and then we'll have them in the books. And I apologize as well, I know there have been many months where we changed it, where we thought we had a date, and then we said, oh, wait a minute, something's happening, can't do it.
Is David Godsagan going to be, because I think some of the changing was
I know,
that he couldn't
right.
make the Thursday at
Right.
1 or whatever we
Right,
normally have.
right, that was a tough time for him. Right, I know, I did actually keep that sticky note as well. Thursday mornings were better for him, Mondays, most of the day. He did also say at 12 noon most days, but I also will say that he's still in process. He hasn't yet done some of the steps, it's a complicated process to get yourself officially appointed to a committee, so that hasn't
How
happened yet.
complicated is it?
Well, he's got to, as many of you probably know, you have to send that initial letter of interest. I can't send it on anybody's behalf.
Right, of course.
It actually has to come from that person saying, I'm willing and able and interested to serve on this committee. So I've
So we're still
requested
waiting
that he
on
does,
that.
yeah.
So
At least according to the
I'm not feeling
town hall.
strongly about scheduling around
I know,
that.
right, yeah,
Right.
I would agree.
You know,
And-
maybe the following month, you know, if
Right.
the follow through happens, the following month we can regroup on it.
Right. And I'm willing as well to go back to, you know, I had conversations with Andrea, the public health director, and also when I was at a Board of Health meeting, like, you know, just raise the issue. Who amongst you is willing and able, you know, to serve and fill that Board of Health seat? And at the time, it seemed like David was the most likely, but I don't know if that's changed. So I'll check in with Andrea again.
I'm surprised Ken didn't wanna do it.
Well, you know, he hasn't come forward. So, and you know, Leanne is still on the board, Colleen, you know, others, so nobody else came forward.
Yeah.
The thought was, you know, David might be willing and able to do this, but I get it, you know, it's a busy
So in terms
person.
of my days off are
Yeah,
Mondays,
what's good for
Mondays
you?
and Thursdays.
Okay,
But I'm pretty flexible on those days for the most part.
cool.
So I think some of those do align with
Yep.
his sort of requests.
Yep,
But either one of those days are pretty good for me in general.
sounds good. Well, as I pull up just February for this year, 13th, 20th.
20th is vacation week, just so you know.
Oh, that's a good point. Thank you, Neil. School vacation week?
Yeah.
All right, let's avoid that then.
Can't do the 13th.
How about 27th? That would be just about a month from now. Or we go earlier. Oh, that probably won't give us enough time to do
Right,
some
right.
research though.
Is
Okay.
the 27th a Monday?
27th is a
Thursday.
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 Yep, it's a Thursday. So Thursday, February 27th. Does that day work? I don't have anything.
So I have a meeting at 10 and I have a haircut at 1:30, but I can meet in between or after or before.
Okay, what's a good, if we met at noon, does that give you enough time to get to your 1:30?
Yep.
12 noon?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I lied. I have a department meeting at my office, 12 to 1. That day is horrible.
Ooh,
Okay.
yikes.
I can do before 10 or after 3.
Okay.
Looks like.
What about the Monday?
Monday,
Monday
the
the
24th?
Yeah.
I'd have to do it earlier myself. It would have to be like, maybe even like 11:30. Is that too early?
We have a meeting at 11:30.
We have
Oh,
our
you do?
wellness,
But we could
yeah.
do
Wellness.
earlier than that.
Want to do earlier on the 24th?
Sure.
10.
What's good for, Taylor, you checking your calendar as well, and others? What did we say?
I am. Now with Laura, what time on the 24th?
It sounded like we were talking about fairly early.
Like
10
10.
a.m.? 10 a.m. on Monday, the 24th? Okay, great. Okay, so 10 a.m. to 24. And with physical bodies here at Town Hall, as well as go-to-meeting access. And can we take a look at March while we're here and have calendars and then just see what that looks like? Just kind of looking back on the Thursdays as well. Thursday 13th, Thursday 20th. Either of those good?
The 20th is less good, but
Okay,
but the 13th seems really close to the 24th. It's
yeah,
only
that's true
2
too.
weeks
You're right,
away.
you're right. Sort of following our sequence, go toward the latter part of March. We're already in latter part of January. We just booked latter part of February. We're gonna do March 27th. Is that doable?
I again have a haircut at 11:30, so I can meet
What-
after 1
Okay,
or earlier,
Or the 24th.
or we could do
or
the
the
24th.
24th at early again, 10 o'clock?
We could do that.
You wanna do March 24th at 10? Okay, cool, at 10 a.m. All right, so we're doing February the 24th, 10 a.m. And we just did March 24th also at 10 a.m.
Okay.
Cool. All right, great,
So
so
far, we're
I'll,
looking for at the fourth.
I know, it seems
Monday.
like we're kinda landing
Fourth
around
Monday
that
of the
fourth
month.
Monday, early in
Mhm.
the morning, and
Mhm.
definitely early in the morning is better for me on a Monday, so.
The good news
Is that-
too, earlier in the morning, it's easier for, like, I can go in person.
Okay.
I start my day and come in.
Cool. All right,
That's
good.
awesome.
And Lauren, if those dates are good for you, that's great. We'll pass them along to Emily, who is not here. Who else are we missing today? Just Emily? Yeah.
And the Board of Health.
And Board of Health. All right, cool. All right, thank you. We've got those 2 dates. I will reach out to both Ashley and Liz about their social worker positions and programs and see if we can't get both of them to join us. And even if they can join us virtually, to talk about their social work jobs on the February date. We're good. We're golden. All right, excellent. All right, we're getting close to 2:00. I was hoping that we could maybe wrap up on, by 2. Any updates or anything? Chris, you already mentioned some of those great resources that we'll get onto the town website for a committee page. Any other updates or things
I-
people need?
I looked around on other communities as to how they headed their website, like what
Oh,
their
cool. Okay. Yep.
explanation was, and I came up with one that I'll just send out.
Perfect.
I mean, I didn't make
Great.
copies, I'm sorry.
No worries, no worries, but
But that's, I mean,
Good.
that's kind of like the thing we need to do first.
how to structure it, yep,
So
good.
that if we can
Beautiful.
get that far, and maybe the communications director will set up.
Thank you, Neil, take care.
Will set up a website for us, or
Great,
however that'll,
that
or at
sounds
least
good.
design.
I agree, no,
I'm not
let them design
Yeah,
it, but I agree,
yeah,
the structure of the headers and
Yeah.
all of that makes sense, so, cool.
Yeah, I'll send that
Thank
out.
you for looking at what other folks have done.
It's been weighing on me, so it's like, okay,
All
I
right.
need to at least get that
At
piece
least
done.
get that
and-
done and,
Right.
and then, yeah, think
Mm-hmm.
about, and then once you have that structure, it's easier to feed stuff
Mm-hmm.
in.
The other one, I thought I remember looking at our town's website.
The
and I
town
thought-
website, yeah.
I thought I made a note of it somewhere. It's probably in a pile of
Oh, I
important
remember,
papers.
cultural
I think
council,
Belchertown
yes, yeah,
Cultural
you said the
Council seemed
cultural
really
council.
good in terms, similar,
Has a
you know,
good
here's
way,
a section
yeah.
for applying for grants, here's
Yep,
a section
yep.
for, you know, our mission and what they kind of do. I thought that one was
A good model.
a good
for us to
model,
look at.
yeah. But
Cool.
also looking at other towns, I think is
Yep.
great.
Yeah, I have to admit, I haven't looked at others, so thank you, Jill, I haven't looked at how other towns are describing it and all that. Great. Cool. All right, so we'll keep moving on that. Jill will send around sort of a template of like different categories and headers. Then we'll work with the folks internal to town government to help us with that. They've offered all of that. Great. I'm not prepared to give anybody minutes to sort of approve, so once again, we'll table that. But I do have one other thing, just to let everybody know. It was super quick and all of that, so don't worry about it. But as a town committee, now that we've been around for a year, we were asked, we had to write up a summary of what we've done for the town report, right? The annual town report that's given out at town meeting. So the good news was we had plenty of stuff that I could just copy and paste and pick from and do this, that, and the other thing. So it's done.
Excellent.
We were a week in advance of the deadline even, so, woo,
Well
so
done.
we got kudos from Melissa in the town manager's office saying, thank you, you got it in sooner than other people. So that's all done as well, so will be official.
Receiving my 3-page boat report.
Yours was 3 pages? Whoa, you guys got a lot going on. I know, you got a lot, stuff in there, I know.
And I had to cut it too.
It is really hard to, I know, Melissa wanted it succinct, so I did my
I sent
best,
it to her.
but when
She's
you
like,
got a
"It's fine."
lot going on,
We
you
just
gotta,
have a lot.
you know, those are
And it's
historic documents.
very specific and detailed,
Good,
like statistics and
right, you got it.
not fluff. There's not a lot of fluff in
No,
it.
you have to, you know, you work hard, might as well. And people, you know I look at those things when I go to town meeting, and believe it or not, you know, my husband does some stuff volunteer-wise for the Stone House. they have all the town reports in their archives, because it's the history, that's part of the history of the town.
I think I have
People-
those back to in the
I was gonna say, to
50s
the
in my
fifties, do you?
office, yeah.
And people really ask
I
for
look-
them,
I look
yes,
at them.
people look at them.
To find out,
They
you know,
absolutely
when
look at
something
them.
started, or
Exactly.
you know, when this was voted.
Exactly, he's had requests, students doing projects, like what happened at town meeting, what committees were in place, what did the town budget look like, you know, decades ago, so, anyway, so it's good stuff. But we did our part, so, all right. All right, I guess I will entertain a motion to adjourn, I think we've got to everything on our agenda
So moved.
today. So moved, do I have a second? I got
Second.
a second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you again. Nice to meet you, Lauren. I'm sure we'll see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thanks, everybody. I'm gonna turn off the recording. I think there we go.
This conference is no longer being